Hello, welcome to Always Yarn First, the podcast that delves into knitting, crochet, spinning, and all things yarn. I'm Lindsay, and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. To stay updated on my latest yarn adventures, you can follow me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome, guys. It's been a day. So very quickly, before we get into the episode, a little bit of admin things. Let me think. I had something. Oh, that's right. I'm hosting a make-along. I am hosting the Knit All the Small Things on my Ravelry group page. Anything that takes one skein or less of yarn, you can enter there either on the chat thread or on the finished objects. And I have decided I'm going to end that the end of April. So you have all month to finish some more small things. Also, a month ago, I meant to mention this on my podcast, and I kept forgetting that my pattern for Boots with the Fern is out on Ravelry. I cannot find my second sock anywhere, but they look exactly the same. So this is Boots with the Fern sock pattern. It's my first patterned sock, and it is available on Ravelry. So thank you for those of you who have already bought it and supported me. I appreciate you. All right. Let's get into the episode. This is episode 60, and if you've been here before, you already know I name every podcast episode on a song title because before my love of yarn was my love of music, which I love almost every genre of, and so I try to pick a title that is fitting. I might have picked a different title had I named it today, but I named it yesterday. So I named it Wanna Be Startin' Something, and that is by Michael Jackson. And I have a Spotify playlist for all my songs for the podcast, and I have that link below in case you want to follow me. All right, like I said, it's been a rough day. Not going to go into it, but between my family being sick, my dog sick, a couple other things, it's like the perfect storm this morning happened, and it's just emotions. So, and I have a lot of making. I have a lot. It's mostly stuff you've all seen, but I feel like I've put a decent amount of work in each of these projects, which is pretty exciting. So I'm going to try to run through them, not fast where you can't keep up with it, but fairly quickly, because like I said, you've seen these projects, but I want to show you where I'm at. So there is no finished objects today. There is a couple new cast-ons. There is whips, a small acquisition, a small spinning, and then because it's the 1st of April, I also talk goals. So there will be timestamps below if you'd like to skip around. All right, so I'm not wearing any knitting, so let's get right into new things I've cast on. So let's start with this bag. If you've been here, I always put my Desert Vista Dye Works monthly socks in. I just cast these on yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So I am doing the monthly Desert Vista Dye Works sock make-along where you have to cast on and finish a pair of socks within each month with Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. And so this is my April cast on, and I am loving these colors. This is the colorway Little Women. And yeah, not much to say about them. I am doing top down this time, and I had mentioned before that I am a tight knitter. I am definitely tight with my cast on and bind off, which is a problem with socks when you're casting on. I have started doing the alternating cable cast on. Is that right? Yeah. I haven't gotten super fast with it. And when you cast it on, it's like you're casting on 1x1 ribbing. But I have found an amazing tutorial from Ysolda Tig, and she shows you how to do it. And then she shows you how to just move your stitches around if you want to do 2x2 ribbing. So you can see I did do 2x2 ribbing. So I did the alternate cable cast on, but then I just rearranged my stitches that first row. And I like it too because when you do this cast on, you cast on, so for me I do 64 stitches and I cast on flat 64 stitches. And then you actually knit the first row, still flat. Then you go in the round. And I don't think you can really tell. It makes it super easy to get in the round. And you can see no tight cast on for me. So otherwise, my recipe I'm doing, I have a free pattern on Ravelry called Basic Top Down Socks. So I will link that below also. Yeah, so self-striping yarn. I always call this my April DVD socks. And that is in my bag by Trappings and Trinkets. All right, I have one other cast on. I have cast on my V-back tee. So the Arkansas Yarn Crawl is coming in July, and Arkansas Yarn Co. always picks a garment to make where if you'd like to make along with them, and then every Saturday during the crawl, they get together at noon for a picture, and everyone wearing their matching shirts gets a picture. Well, this year's garment is the V-back tee, and there is a fingering and a DK weight one. This is a pattern by Jamie Hoffman, and I have previously made, and I've worn it on the podcast, the V-back fingering weight one. I used a pineapple yarn advent from a couple of years ago, so I already have a fingering weight one. And I wanted to do the make along with, but I kind of didn't want to, I decided not to do another fingering one because I have so many garments I want to make, you know, and so much time. But I had, in the end of December, had bought yarn to make the DK V-back tee. So I decided for making along with everybody, I would just cast on my DK one. I probably won't wear it during the crawl, but then I get this one off my needles, and it's DK and it goes fast. I'm working on size 9 needles right now. So this is the V-back tee DK by Jamie Hoffman, and I'm showing the V in front. Yes, it's called the V-back tee, but it is reversible, and I like the V in front. I like my fingering weight one in front also, but this is so good. The yarn I'm using is Camellia Fiber Co. Yak DK. It is 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, 15% yak, and the squish factor is real. It is so good. Like I said, for the body, it's US 9s, so I'm pretty sure this is going to fly off my needles. I'm still doing very minor increases around the V right now till I get to a certain amount of stitches, and then I will split for sleeves. So I just started this a couple of days ago. It calls for the Italian, is it Italian tubular cast on, or is it Italian cast on and tubular are the same? I don't know. I tried to follow it. And I don't know if it was the state of mind I was in that morning, but I struggled. And I just did my regular cast on, which is, my brain is fried. Not German twisted. It's similar to what everyone else does, and my brain has literally just lost words. So by the time I edit this, I'll remember and put it on the screen because it's been a long day, and it's just like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By the way, I didn't say it is April 4th. It is Thursday, and I'm doing this podcast a day early because I'm going out of town this weekend, tomorrow. So this is it, my V-back tee. And I've been working a lot on this the last 2 days, so I hope to get this done actually pretty quickly. There are so many project bags on this table. It's ridiculous. Okay, that is all my new cast-ons. So let's get into whips. All right, So this one is in my puff stitch bag. And this is my Anna Zadora shawl by Lindsay Fowler. This is what I'm using my Gritty Knits All Year Advent Club for. I get 2 mini skeins a month from Gritty Knits. She does it, as you can see, in a fade. So I got it from month 1, and I'm still going. It's getting larger, but I am happy to say I am caught up. So I'm all caught up until I get my April minis. I love this shawl. I say it every time, but it's going to be, I think, very wearable. But not much to say about that. The white I am using is Arkansas Yarn Co. Yummy Plush and Wedding Cake, which is the undyed colorway. Okay, rolling right along. Next is in my Black Pearl Magic bag, and this is the Shimmering Pearl. Some of these things I'm not positive I switched where the stitch marker was. Oh, I think I did on this one. So yeah, I think last time I was right before the next lace panel. This is a 1 skein shawl. Starts at a garter tab down here. And with lace, it always looks messy while you're working on it, but it looks really good. No problems. There's my very hungry caterpillar. This one, between this one and my Muppet shawl, is usually the 2 shawls I will do first thing in the morning. Like I'll do for a little bit of time, and then I'll put that down, and that's pretty much the only time I work on it. Just depends what mood I'm in for which shawl I'm in the mood for. Okay. So that is Shimmering Pearl. Let's just go into the other shawl, like I said, that I mentioned is taking up my morning hours. This is in my Muppet bag. I don't know who the bag maker is. This was a gift. And I'm doing the Muppet shawl. This is one that I, pardon me. I'll mention again, this was a mystery knit along. It is over. There's a lot of new stitches and such, and I am still enjoying it, but I'm enjoying working on just a very little bit at a time. So usually on a day when I wake up, I think, okay, I'm going to work on the Muppet shawl. I'll work on it a little bit, and then that's it for the day. So I did get past a couple little color sections. Kind of hard to see the stitches here, but you can see I worked on these pink sections, and I just a couple mornings ago did this. I think there's a few more repeats of this where I have the orange, which looks pretty cool. So yeah, I am way behind, and I'm going to stay way behind because this is a rectangular shawl. And I mean, I've already seen the finished project, and I'm pretty sure you work 2 different pieces of this and then do something to join them in the middle from what it looks like construction. And I am just literally printing out 1 clue at a time. I'm still in clue 1. I'm almost to the end of clue 1. So yeah, I am enjoying it, but at my own pace. So you'll probably see this one for quite a while because I'm working on it very slowly. But yeah, it's really cute. And I am using Noro Sonata in the colorways Koi, Vanilla, Strawberry, and Azalea. I am only using 3 different accent colors. You can see it's like the more red, pink, and orange. It calls for 6 colors, but it was small amounts, so I am using just 3 colors. We'll double them over for colors 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So still enjoying it, just tinkering away on it. All right. And then we have socks, and I have to go up and get I forgot I finished one. All right, so here's where I was in the middle of this heel last time. I'm just calling this my Skittles socks. This is just a vanilla sock. I did this one toe up. This is using the Legacy Fiber Arts Steel Toes base in the colorway Skittles. And then just, I'm pretty sure, just Wedding Cake from Arkansas Yarn Co. Actually, no, this is a Legacy Fiber Arts. This is a mini that came with it because I got the, I think they call it a micro set, where it's just 50 grams of yarn and then a 20 gram mini. So these are for me. And I'm on the second sock because I always have to have at least a sock on the needles. And so when I finished my March Desert Vista Dye Work sock, I had to, that's when I finished this pretty much and cast on the next one. So I am just in the foot. Doesn't look like much, but there is the toe. I use the decorative rounded toe, which is in my Boots with the Fern pattern, but I got that toe from Lori of Arkansas Yarn Co. She had told me about it, and I love this decorative toe. It fits really good. So yeah, not much to say on that, just a vanilla sock, because I always have to have socks on the needles. But this one you will probably get the back burner now that I have my Desert Vista Dye Works. But then when I catch up with that one, I'll go back to this, finish it, and then I want to cast on another sock. This last week, I had 2 different friends, both crafters, tell me they're moving out of state. 2 different directions, too. So, one of them, before she leaves, I want to make her some socks. And I found the perfect skein in my stash that is her colors. So, I really want to cast those on, too. All right. We still have 3 more project bags. Okay, so the next one is in my woolly bean bag. And this is the Rocket Tee. This one, again, I'm still just knitting in the round. This one usually is striped, fingering weight with mohair, but I am just doing fingering weight, one color, just to have a classic one color tee. Looks good. And here's how much progress I've made. Quite a few inches. So not bad. Fingering weight. This yarn is Chelsea Lux in her Spring Chicken colorway. Love it. So excited to have this. This again is another, I've kind of, a few months ago when I started the Knit All the Small Things, I could only make small things. Like I did not want to make any garments. And now I've been working on 3 different ones. But notice even that, like this is in the body. So I can do this while I'm online gaming with friends, when I'm watching TV, when my brain's like, nope, we aren't working right. This is literally, I'm skipping, there's usually a detail down the arm. I'm not doing that with this one. So I'm literally just knitting till I get to the length I want. So I do not have to think about anything. So I can take this. This is great social knitting where I don't have to think about it. So love this one. This one is good. That and with the DK, the V-back, again, super easy, just great. Which this weekend I'm going to be social with a friend, so probably take one of those and my socks because that'll be easy. All right, 2 more. Okay, the other garment I had been working on is in my La Bien Amie Fringe Supply Co bag. They're no longer making bags. And this is my Give Me the Tea. This was one I had taken out that had been in hold for a while. I've talked about it before. It goes like this. I have tried it on. It is a fitted tee, but I really, really love it. I talk about how much I love that stitch definition. It's good. All right, so I think I mentioned last time my dilemma was last podcast that I had just tried it on. I had saw how fitted it was. I didn't dislike it, but it's very not used to not usually what I wear. But I have lots of summer like spaghetti strap dresses, so I thought this would actually be perfect over that. And I didn't want to keep going super long on the length because I have a bigger tummy and hip area. So if I went more on the length, it would just be that much tighter there, which would not look good. So I think I went to about 9 inches. So you can see where I was last time, a few inches. Now, this pattern, I'm going to put up a picture. This pattern has the folded up hem, which I love. It's really pretty. I feel like I have done the folded up hem before on one other thing, but I can't think of what the project is that I did it for. But I am one of those people that read as I go as the pattern. I trust the pattern. So as I was finishing this body, you put in the 1 row of purl, kind of like as a marker. You keep going, and then it says to bind off in knit stitches. Okay, that's cool. So the idea is then you fold it right where the purl is, and you sew it right there. Okay, the problem is, as you can see when I hold it up normally, how much it rolls. So I was messaging the girls at the shop and I'm like, how in the world do you, at the same time, hold it down, make sure it's straight, and sew this together? And they're like, oh, you do it before you bind off while it's still on your needles. I'm like, that's not what the pattern told me to do. It said to bind off. So I bound off. So yeah, so unfortunately, this is one of those things when you're a knitter or crocheter or whatever, like you get to one of those tasks that you really, really don't want to do, even though it's so close. I mean, I need to do some work, a little bit of work on the sleeves. But honestly, I like the rolled up for the top. I liked how it looked on, even though I do still have, even on the top, I have that marker where you would fold it. But I kind of liked how it looked rolled on the top. So I'm going to leave this exactly as is, and I'm fine with it. I do need to do a little work on the sleeve, the minimal, if you call it a sleeve, basically to tidy it up. So I will know to pick up those stitches and do the folded hem with it still on the needle. But I also know myself, and unless I have a day where I am so beyond motivated, even though if it takes me hours, this is probably going to sit for a while, which is frustrating. But again, I know myself. So it really needs to be like a day where I'm like, it's not about how much I get done. It's about finishing this. So that's where I'm at. Most of the knitting is done with this. So I'm very close to a finished object. But I really, really don't want to seam this or sew this or whatever together. Is there anyone in this area that I will weave in ends like nobody's business? If somebody wants to sew this end into me, I really don't want to do it. So that's where we're at with that. All right, let's get to the last whip, shall we? This is way more happier. Now this one is like the Muppet Shawl I've been saying. I'm like, oh, this is a very slow. I just work on it a little bit. And then like the last week we've had tons of family TV time, and that's where I work on this project. It is not on my cart. It is not by my desk where I usually do most of my knitting. It is in a basket next to my knitting chair in the living room where I watch TV. So, and believe it or not, I sit in my desk chair way more than I sit in the living room on my knitting chair. But this is in my Knick Knack Knits bag, and this is my Wave to the Fans. This is my blanket that Lori made the pattern for. And I am using it as a scrappy blanket. And I am loving it so much. Last podcast, I asked if you guys wanted to see it every time. And the few people that responded said, if you work on it, I want to see it. I'm like, okay, will do. But it's kind of fun because I'm literally just using scrap balls, and every time I get, and it's held double. So every time one of them run out, I pick up another one. So the colors are constantly changing, and to me, it's so much fun. So I made I just saw my progress keeper. There it is, my pawpaw. Look at it. And I have sparkle in there, non-sparkle. It's just all fingering weight. I love it so much. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun blanket. I love it. The colors are so fun. And then last podcast I had showed that project, the crochet project, that I am not finishing that blanket. So I had a ton of the row 1 minis. And so a bunch of them that I didn't have grouped by month, I threw in the basket with my scraps for this. So I have lots of tonals to kind of go with these now. Not all of them are tonals, but there's quite a bit of them. So I love looking at this blanket so much. Yeah, there is a lot of purling because obviously there is some rows on the purl side that you knit, but most of it's purling, and I don't even care. I have no problem with it at all. I love it. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. So let me move my marker because otherwise I'm going to forget. So we'll see. I mean, not every podcast will I have a ton. It literally depends because even a lot of times I will watch TV and stuff, again, at my desk. I know it sounds weird. A lot of people are knit only in their living room, on their sofa, or in their bedroom, on their bed. I like sitting at my desk. And so only when I'm watching TV with the family am I sitting in the living room. And that's when I work on this. So you can always tell when I have more TV time because there's more done on this. All right, that was a lot of projects. So let me get briefly into spinning. So it has been a long time since I have done any spinning, and I have wanted to for a while, but it's always nerve-wracking when you get into spinning because I feel like you have to remember how to tension your yarn. And so the project I was currently working on my spinning was still from my Advent. I had bought an Advent from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. That's right. And it was like a little bit for each day, and I kept up in December and spun all of those. So in December I was done with those, but then I needed to apply them together. And so I decided, instead of applying them on themselves, I had a bunch of natural brown alpaca fiber that I had gotten from Irish Meadows in Iowa, their alpaca farm, and I even have more of it that I can spin. So, but I had some done that wasn't plied. So I was basically at the plying section. I had gotten a couple little skeins done, plied with my Advent. So I did another skein. Here it is. I thought this went well because you can really see lots of different colors in there. So the fiber Advent I had gotten was really awesome. It was Lord of the Rings based, so I knew that the colors were gonna go together well. They're very earthy colors, So in here you can see orange and green, some blue, white, gray, and I think, and then all this brown that you see is the alpaca. So I got this done, and I have a little bit of that alpaca on a bobbin, but I'm about out of alpaca. And I have 2 plus some bobbins left of the advent fiber. So now I need to spin more alpaca yarn so that I can then ply it out and finish it. So don't know what these are going to be. I'm just kind of making a stack of all the ones from the advent to hopefully go together. Maybe one of Andrea Mowry's shift cowl or something like that. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I'm just kind of keeping them together. So super happy to do a little bit of spinning to be back in the groove. And actually I felt like my tension was fairly good, even though it had been, I think it's been at least 2 full months since I've done any spinning. So yeah, happy with this. All right, let's get into acquisition. And I only have one very small thing. And I just became a patron member for a homespun house, Molly. And she does vlogs like almost every other day. Her and her husband live in Germany. I'm sure most of you know who she is. And if you are a certain level Patreon, then you get minis sent per month. So they take a little bit longer because they come from Germany. And so I got my first month of minis, and this is them. This says February 2024 Patreon minis. There's 3 colors here. I don't know which one is which. It says, if you're a birds, I'm a bird. Then Yuletide Carols and Untamed. The names don't really matter. I'll probably just, these are 30 grams total. So each of these are 10-gram minis, which is perfect. You guessed it, for my Wave to the Fans blanket. So because they're smaller minis, I'm thinking I was just going to wind them up and put them in my baskets for my blanket. So yeah, excited about that. I'm enjoying her vlogs. They're pretty short, and so I just usually add them to my Watch Later playlist on YouTube, which has all my podcasts I follow. So it's nice to have a little bit extra content. All right, so the last section we have is goals. But before I do that, I do have one new podcast to me that I have discovered, and it is Maddie! Exclamation point. That's what Skane said. So I have it linked below. She is from Seattle, Washington. It looks like she only has a couple, so I've only watched one, the very latest one. I watched yesterday, the day before, and she's super cute. So definitely check her out below. All right, let's get into our final section. And that is goals. Okay, so my goals for March. I wanted to finish my Desert Vista Dyework socks, finish my agave, get my rocket tee in the round, and cast on another project from my stash board. All of those 4 things were accomplished in the month of March. My yarn in for March was 11 skeins. Again, I count everything 50 gram skein or up as a skein in, which brings my year total to 45. And my yarn out was only 4. And that brings my yearly total to 25. All right, so what are my April goals? My DVD socks, as always. And I'd like to finish my Skittle socks also because, like I said, I want to cast on a pair of socks for a friend. The other 2 goals are a little bit, maybe a little bit more challenging for me. Just we'll see how the month goes. My Muppet shawl, I'd like to get through clue 2. That doesn't sound like much. I just said I was about done with clue 1. That clue 1, when I print off my pattern, it was 9 pages that I had to print off for instructions. So yeah. So getting through the rest of clue 1 and all of clue 2, we'll see how it goes, but it's good to have a goal. So that's why I'm doing that. And then I put getting done my V-back tee. I feel like that one is really doable. Like I said, I right now am just getting to a certain length, and then I will be at sleeves. There's not really any sleeves because it's going to be short sleeves. And so then it's, again, just knitting around on US 9s, DK. I love DK sweaters because they go so much faster. I forget how much faster. Maybe that's why I didn't touch garments for a long time, because I was working on all fingering weight garments. And then I cast this one on the other day and I'm like, oh, I just want to work on this because it's so fast. So that's my other goal, is to see if I can get that done during the month, which I think that's the garment I'm going to take this weekend. So that's it for my goals. This weekend, I am leaving tomorrow to Kansas City area. My friend Christine, who is Treasure Goddess, she yearly has a yarn party. I know I've mentioned it here before because I've always wanted to go. I've never been able to before. So this is my first time going, and it's a special weekend because she is also hosting Marie Green, who is Olive Knits. She's kind of taken it back from the social media, but she always hosts a 4-day sweater knit along, usually July 4th weekend. I've knit a couple of her sweaters, the soundtrack, which was a 4-day cal, and then I have 2 of her books. She has like a sweaters in 2 weeks books and a shawls in 2 weeks books. And I made a sweater out of her book. So I'm excited to meet her because I really like her patterns. So she'll be there, and my friend Christy from Illinois is meeting me, and we are going to stay the weekend. So hopefully it will be a fun girls' weekend. Yeah, so that is why I'm recording early on Thursday, because tomorrow, bright and early, I'm headed to Kansas City because I want to go into the city and do some vinyl shopping. They have quite a few record stores in Kansas City, so I'm going to do that before my friend gets into town. And then all the yarny stuff will be on Saturday. And then I'll be driving home Sunday in hopefully not horrible traffic. And I say that because the eclipse is Monday, and we are one of the cities that will have totality, and so they keep warning us that traffic's going to be insane. So we'll see how that goes. Driving home Sunday, I'm just determined that I'm going to take my time and not worry about it and just be patient. So that's all I can do. So I thank you for being here. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much. Thank you for following me on this journey, and tell me what you're knitting below. Tell me what you're making. I'd like to hear. I love reading every comment. So please follow me on Instagram, and please like and subscribe if you like this channel. And I will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.